What is up, guys? My name is BobaTalks and welcome to another Gotham video. Now, as from the title, you must be kind of confused or you may have heard the news already. Now, in this video, I'm going to try and explain to you, well, I'm going to give you my reaction, but also explain what the hell is going on here to the best of my ability. In case you don't already know, John Stephens, one of the executive producers of Gotham, came out and talked about how Cameron Monaghan's Jeremiah is also not the Joker. And this isn't necessarily surprising technically, because they have been saying this for the longest time about the ideology kind of thing, how anyone can become the Joker. However, I just wish he didn't talk about this right now. Like, what were you thinking? Like, in the worst possible way, like the wording as well, they should have been more ambiguous, if that makes sense. Like saying, oh, how Jeremiah could be the Joker who fights Batman one day. But no, he had to talk with IGN, and they released that article right at the height of Gotham's freaking Joker Joker arc. Now, whatever you do, before you comment down below saying F this show, oh yeah, F blah 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 blah, a lot of people, stuff like this flies over their heads, and they hear like, oh, Jeremiah's not the Joker, through word of mouth, and they just think, again, oh my god, again, screw this show. Like, don't do that, guys. Don't give this show any more bad publicity than what it has sometimes with these reactions. Now, that being said, I obviously completely disagree with this. I just wish they could have a Joker, a proper Joker in Gotham, but no, they've had to kind of go around it because of certain various reasons that I will get to. Now, bear with me, guys. This is probably going to be somewhat of a long video because, as you probably can tell with this channel, I'm quite passionate about this. So what I'm going to do is what I normally do. I'm going to read out the article, and this article stems from IGN. The headline is Gotham producer talks Joker swap, No Man's Land, which is the storyline that's going on at the minute, and eventually ending the show with Batman, which I'm not so interested about right now. And the subheading is The Real Joker is Out There, ... using the Valeska brothers as inspiration. Now, first of all, before I get into the reading, this isn't technically surprising. All of us shouldn't be too surprised, even though I have been fooled myself. I brought into Jeremiah technically as the Joker, even though a few videos back I did say, like, with the ideology, even though Jeremiah could die one day and someone else might take over, the bit that bothers me is what Steven said in this article, is how he said Jeremiah isn't, I guess, like the Joker who is going to be fighting Batman one day. That is actually going to be the Joker that we all know and love. So that is the bit that bothers me. He just shouldn't have talked about it right at the freaking end of the season when it needs to get renewed, about how Jeremiah, who's currently holding, or is currently the city's, you know, Joker, if you will, even though he's not going to be called that, isn't going to be the guy who I thought would maybe flesh out to be the one that faced Batman one day. The city might give him the Joker name, but no, that's not happening. There is a Joker out there, and he's using these two guys, Jeremiah and you know, Jerome, as the inspiration. So this is on IGN by Matt Fowler. Now that Cameron Monaghan's psychotic Jerome has been replaced by his twin brother, Jeremiah, Gotham's about to face a whole new madman, one who's more reserved and plotting than his unhinged twin. With 2 episodes left in season 4, I spoke with Gotham's executive producer / showrunner John Stephens about the Joker swap, the switch out that saw Jerome infect his sibling with a modified version of his madness, along with how the show's upcoming No Man's Land Season 5 reboot will affect Jim Gordon and the overall plans for ending the show with the arrival of Batman. But is Jeremiah a saner version of the Joker? Stephens opens up about the choice to swap out the brothers. Now, this is the first important part of the article that John Stephens states, you know, showrunner, executive producer, where I just wish he would have been more ambiguous, as I said, so it kind of just doesn't crush fans, or just outright say, this is why we can't use the Joker, because of the big cheeses that Warner Brothers don't really want us to, so we're using this storyline to make fans happy. I would be more accepting of that rather than the words he uses here. And as I said, guys, at the worst freaking possible time, where there's a lot of people who are going to hear this through the word of mouth and just rage quit this show without the context, because unfortunately a lot of people are like that. Some of it was born out of the fact that we could never have the Joker character on the show, he revealed. We wanted to try and develop a new character who could embody another element of the Joker persona. It felt like Jerome, as great as he was, had gone as far as we could go with him. So we spoke to Cameron Monaghan as well and discussed doing the character as a version that's just as insane as Jerome, but who controls it in a different way. And to do a quieter and scarier version of the lunatic. Someone who's cut a bit more from the Hannibal Lecter cloth rather than the chaotic anarchy cloth. And yeah, fair enough, that's what we're getting with Jeremiah. I mean, I quite enjoy him, but yeah, he unfortunately is not the guy. We also wanted to create someone who had a particular point of view regarding his attachment to Bruce, Stephens added. You know the Joker always has that connection to Batman, like frenemies or brothers or two sides of the same coin where they can't live without the other one. We wanted that to be a part of what was driving Jeremiah here. Jerome was his false brother and Bruce is the brother he should have had, and the two of them will be bonded together in the same way Batman and Joker will be bonded one day. This is what pushes us forward to the end of the season. Now guys, when I read up to this point in the article, you're probably maybe thinking what I first thought before I moved on to the next paragraph, where he says basically how these two will be bonded together, or in the same way Batman and Joker will be bonded together one day. And I thought, okay, that would be ambiguity if he just left it there in saying how Jeremiah could still be that guy, because he's just Jeremiah at the minute, Bruce is Bruce, then they'll become Batman and he'll become the Joker one day, and this is the beginning of that on the show. But no guys, unfortunately the next paragraph completely rules out that smarter move of trying to just leave it a little bit ambiguous so fans do not get angry. And as I said, I will explain why this kind of has been the case all along. So here we go, the most important part of our Joker part to this article. So with this all being born out of the show not being able to portray the real Joker, in brackets probably because of Warner Brothers and stuff like that, Stephens confirmed that neither Valeska is the true Joker who will one day plague Batman. Stephens says, quote unquote, Jeremiah is not the Joker, he said. The other characters are who they are, like Mad Hatter, Scarecrow, etc. But no, he isn't a Joker. What we've always gone with is that the Joker is somewhere out there, anonymous and unformed, in Gotham, and he's watching the actions of Jeremiah and Jerome and possibly even another one on his way somewhere down the line, and he's adopting them as inspirations as the person he'll one day become. And then the guy who's writing the article, Robert, I believe, says all this implies too that Batman one day will face the Joker and realize that he reminds him of the Valeska twins from years before, and he's just like, yeah, I guess that's true. Stephens laughed. I never really considered that. So there you have it, people. There you have it. So to be honest, honestly, for quite a long time now, ever since the end of season 2, they really are sticking with that inspiration storyline. To be honest, ever since then, people like me, I have covered, and I've said in recent videos that, even with the ideology after what Danny Cannon said, I accepted that, and I just thought that Jeremiah, even though I knew there might be another one down the line somewhere, just like John Stephens said, I just thought Jeremiah would be the one to, as they put in the article, plague Batman. But unfortunately, no, they're concretely saying that the Valeska brothers aren't that guy. They really, really aren't that. And in this Gotham kind of Elseworlds version of the universe, because that's the way I guess you have to look at it, you have two guys who are extremely, well, they're the complete origin of the Joker mythos. And the guy out there who will be anonymous, and this is the kind of silver lining of it, like the Joker, and this is the thing that hasn't happened with Jeremiah and Jerome, they're not anonymous or anything like that. And when we've all thought maybe, okay, Jerome is the Joker or Jeremiah is the Joker at several points down the past couple of years or so, that's always been one problem. But now in this universe, guys, quite simply, as what I've just read out to you, they are inspirations. This guy out there, the Joker, who is out there in the shadows of Gotham somewhere, is using these guys as inspirations, like words out of the dragon's mouth himself. Like the guy, one of the showrunners, there you go. Like, he's using them as inspirations. Call that copycat, call that what you will, digest it how you will, but this is how it definitively is. Now the thing is, don't necessarily rage. Don't rage quit this show. This show has still done something original. This is the way I choose to look at it. I just hope more people will be like this. Now yes, I would love it. I would love it if one of these two people in the show was the actual Joker, and maybe they could have just maybe done a young Joker and just kept it developing from there. But no, along the line, to make fans happy and to somehow still have that Joker element into Gotham, or try and tell their own cool new origin in the way of the Joker, they've made and birthed this, which is the Valeska twins. And then, as I've mentioned like twice now, there's this guy out there who will be inspired by it one day. I think that is pretty cool. It's just, even though I think you can completely create new things, and you don't have to copy and paste from the comic books, I just think a lot of us are really annoyed that the fact that neither of these two people are the clown prince of crime himself, like the actual guy. Because this third guy, and we're never going to get to it because I think it's pretty obvious now, they are never doing the Joker in Gotham, the guy out there who's inspired by these these Valeska brothers, that they weren't allowed to use him. They just weren't allowed to use him, and I think people would be a lot more accepting of this if they were literally like, okay, look, because we have a cinematic universe and the Joker is such a crown jewel, we don't want the possibility of it going wrong on TV or something like that. And even though it is amazing, and this is the irony of it, WB or whoever, I can't confirm this, probably isn't letting them do it. And as he says in this interview with this guy, we can never have the Joker on the show. And it's just, there you go, just say why at least. Also, the biggest thing about this, which I think is what disappoints people, is that third Joker out there who we'll never get to, since as we know now we can't get to him. But we're gonna have the guys at least who inspire him, and this is what I mean. I still kind of find it cool that like this is, you have these kind of proto Jokers, these prototype Jokers, the Valeska brothers, who are, for intents purposes, are kind of the Joker themselves before the actual Joker emerges. Because without these guys, the Joker won't be the Joker one day. But it's just these guys will never be called the Joker, but they are actually kind of the embodiment, and this is what they try and do. This is what Danny Cannon tried to explain recently. This is what you kind of touch on in this interview a little bit. They are kind of the beginning. They are, for all intents and purposes, a Joker, or a couple of Jokers. But that does also make me wonder, I know we're never going to get to this as they've confirmed it now, but this third Joker, well, the actual Joker, sorry, there might be another one down the line as well before they even get to the Joker. So if, for all we know, in another 2 seasons of Gotham, Jeremiah might die, we might see another one. It's just a shame that Clown Prince of Crime, it probably isn't going to be Cameron Monaghan, or like another lookalike, for example, like Jeremiah was the twin of Jerome, but this guy who's using the Valeska brothers as inspirations, the chances are, guys, he's not going to be looking like Cameron, or sorry, like Cameron's not going to play him. Technically, if you think, even if the show gets cancelled, but you imagine what happens in the future, there's no way that there was another freaking twin out there. And yes, I know there's that clone. You could argue at the end of season 2 that clone took to just taking these guys as inspirations. Maybe you could do a fan fiction about that. But it's probably some anonymous guy, like how they teased you picked up the Red Hood or something like that, who's looking at these guys throughout the years of Gotham on TV, like what Jeremiah's doing, what Jerome did on, blew up that clock tower, started No Man's Land. I was like, oh man, yeah, this, that, oh look, he's got bleached skin, oh look, I want the red smile like that, or they might actually do Ace Chemicals. But yeah, it's not going to be Cameron Monaghan most likely. Now I think by now, guys, I have thoroughly explained that and given you my opinion on that, but the reason why this is bad is because, quite simply, the timing. And as I said as well at the beginning of this video, John Stephens should have been so much more ambiguous, or I just don't think they should flat out say this, even if it's hiding a little bit of stuff. It is so damaging, and they should be more wiser than this. And honestly, if John Stephens, and this is the impression I'm getting, thought that this interview would hype up the show, I don't know what this guy is on, because it is the complete opposite effect. Even though I'm hoping I will make people come around a little bit with this video, the chances are, with the word of mouth of this news, it's going to piss so many people off. Imagine, do you remember the first time this happened with Jerome? And now, even though we technically shouldn't be surprised, because they did say that it was an inspiration back at the end of season 2, and they kept saying that, and now they're just doing it again. It's like deja vu. Jeremiah isn't the Joker, and there might be another one on the bloody show before we actually get the Joker, but we're not getting him in the show. But you get where I'm going with this. Why would you do this interview 1 week before the finale airs? It's just, I don't think it will affect ratings too much. Maybe it will, actually. Maybe people won't watch the show. But it's just the word of mouth is what the problem is, I think, is what I'm worried about. And this is what I want to bring into it as well. There was some like ironic or convenient timing with Cameron Monaghan's tweet recently. He basically tweeted something and deleted it. And it was around the time this article came out. Cameron tweeted out, "Pounding my head on the table in frustration." And you know what? I don't blame this guy. Now, by any means, I'm not talking on behalf of Cameron Monaghan, just to disclaim that. This is my interpretation, and I think a lot of fans are also saying as well, it's too convenient at the time. Now, I don't think Cameron is like raging about not playing the Joker. He perfectly knows this. He said this in so many interviews about him being linked to the Joker role, or like how when there's so many like hosts or late night hosts or whoever's interviewing him on Build, I've had so many people say, but Cameron's confirmed that he's the Joker. He's never said, oh yeah, I am the Joker. It's just, imagine how hard it is for him in conversation in these interviews, and this is just me explaining this, by the way, to everyone who says that, oh, but he's confirmed himself as the Joker in interviews. What role is he playing, guys? He's not playing the Mad Hatter. He's not playing Mr. Freeze. He's basically the embodiment of the Joker. He's one of the inspirations. So when you're on a flipping interview and people are saying, oh, you may or may not be the Joker, and he's like, well, can you say that you may or may not be the guy who's playing the Joker? I was like, well, yeah, Well, that is true. He can't say every 2 seconds on the show, oh, but by the way, disclaimer, like, I'm technically not because we're doing this mythos idea, and every time, you get a guy who isn't into the show, as we are, like, interviewing him, and just sees the surface of it and thinking, oh, Joker, he's not going to disclaim that every time. He's going to be like, yeah, sure. And he's not wrong in saying that either, because as I've mentioned in this video already, he is essentially a Joker, because, the guy who is the Joker out there is going to basically copy major things from Jeremiah, the second installment. He's going to copy major things from Jerome as well, but major things from Jeremiah, and for all intents and purposes, on the job description, you are the Jokers, or the show's Joker at the minute. But anyway, back to the tweet. When he says pounding my head on the table in frustration, it's obviously not about him not being the Joker, because he flipping knows that. He's been in the writers, he's been talking to these guys about this role. He's fully aware that who Jeremiah is. What he's probably worried about, and what I read if I was in his position, is the timing of this article, the fact probably John Stephens even had to talk about this at the height of freaking Gotham's finale. He's probably worried about, as I've said, all the young people, or all the people this is going over people's heads, the people who are just taking the headline without the context. They're then going to shit on the show. Simple as that. And he's like crying out loud, this is the worst possible thing to do right in the finale. And thus he is pounding his head on the table, because I would be. This is meant to be the most exciting time for him on the show. He's playing Jeremiah. He's playing like another version of the Joker that, the Joker one day is going to pull the madness from Jerome, but also the insanity from Jeremiah's chilledness. Do you know what I mean? And no. This article came out, John Stephens wasn't ambiguous. He kind of slayed with what he said. He put it very bluntly. Why would you do that? Why would you do that? So like, I'm almost pounding my head on the table too. But so yeah, fair enough, Cameron. I just honestly don't know what John Stephens was thinking saying that right now. Maybe, to be fair, he didn't think this would come out right away, in the finale. But I think to be a showrunner, you need to pay attention to your fan base. And if he's not aware what the reaction would be to this at the freaking finale, like, because this is going to go over people's heads. As I said, I bet there's going to be so many comments in this comment section who are going to go, fuck this show, and stuff like that. And this guy decided to talk about it. And as I already mentioned, he probably maybe didn't know it would come out now. Maybe it would have been better if this came out in the summer when it got renewed, or if it didn't get renewed, then it wouldn't really matter. But yeah, I don't know. But what I want to get across to people is, please do not take this out on the show itself. Please, please, please. Because I get you can be angry. If that's the case, then fair enough, because you really just might not agree with it. But what we have to remember is as well is that Warner Brothers are being very, very clingy with the rights to actually use the Joker name. And I want to clear this up as well. I get some comments when I say, and I've referred to this in the past before, but that's so stupid. Of course they can use the Joker name if they want to. They use the Penguin's name. They use, the Mr. Freeze's name, or Fry's in this case. But anyway, the Riddler. Those characters, as awesome as they are on the show, just this is another explanation, aren't the crown jewels of DC. They're not being used in the cinematic universe and stuff like that. But however, the Joker is. Jared Leto's Joker. These things are huge money makers. And also, we can't forget the Joker origin movie. So, do you see that Penguin being up there? Do you see Riddler being up there? No, that's why they can do that. That's why they probably don't care if you do a crap portrayal of Penguin, even though it's great. But they are so protective of their Joker name. The stupid thing about all of this is that Cameron's done a brilliant job. So they could have probably gone with a straight up just Joker role in Gotham, instead of being this very overcomplicated and a lot of what a lot of people disapprove of, two inspirations that this guy out there in some shadow of Gotham will take inspirations of and then stem into his own thing. So I hope that's why you guys understand why they haven't done or called Cameron definitively the Joker, and that's why they went with this huge story mess in the inspirations and whatnot. And I think I'm going to end it on also as well, guys, what you have to remember is this technically isn't new news. I did a video not so long ago on Danny Cannon talking about how the mythos or the ideology is very much so still a thing. So in the fact that the Joker mantle can go from person to person in Gotham, and that's why he won't be. Do you remember my Joker, the referred to being the Joker video? Where I actually thought at that time that Jeremiah was the Joker, but there would be other Jokers. But now with this clarity, it is purely ideology, and these will be inspirations. And as John Stephens said, the Valeska brothers are inspirations, but there could be another one before the Joker actually becomes the Joker in the future. So there could be as many as 3, maybe even 4 blokes who go over and F over Gotham, who have different elements to the Joker. So for example, Jerome's craziness, Jeremiah's chilledness, but also the bleached skin, red lips. What would the third one be like? What element will he have? I think it will probably end with a third if Gotham kept getting seasons, and then the true Joker would be formed, because that's enough inspirations of the Joker, even though there's quite a few different kind of versions out there in the comic books. But timeline wise, with this inspirations hopping over to another role, so after Jeremiah, whatever happens to him in the show, or what you would imagine the show being like if it got cancelled, it would go to another guy, and then by that point, after a couple years, maybe the Joker would fall into Ace Chemicals, and maybe these inspirations blend in his brain, and that's how he becomes this culmination of all of them. I don't know, but that's just, my crazy theory. Other than that, guys, let me know what you think of all of this. As I said, please do not take this out on the show. Please do not spoil this for Cameron Monaghan. This is meant to be the greatest time for him, and his roles are still nevertheless amazing. Still look at this as, the Jokers on the show. Other than that, guys, if you got this far in a video, sometimes I like to do this. Type in the comment section down below, just like how the cults say, Jeremiah, because that is who we've got right now, and let's big him up. Leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, and also subscribe for more Gotham videos just like this. I of course want to say thank you to my patrons. They are appearing on the screen right now. Link is at the top of my description to my Patreon page and all other links like my social media and stuff. But I'm going to call it a day now, guys. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.